大家好，欢迎回到明镜连线，我是主持人卓贤。今天我们继续来关注委内瑞拉的最新情况。委内瑞拉在上周末又不太平了，又有反对派人士周六在首都与安全部队发生冲突。据美国之音的报道，反对派领袖瓜伊多的支持者在维多利亚大道上会合，一边高喊杀人犯，一边冲破防暴警察的盾牌阻挡。要理解杀人犯这一说法，还得首先提到委内瑞拉的大停电。到这周一，委内瑞拉已经进入了全国大停电的第5天，许多媒体称之为史上最严重的停电，因为这是委内瑞拉在近年来延续时间最长的一次停电，原因到现在还没有查清楚。尽管周一首都卡尔卡斯宣布部分恢复电力，很多人还在后怕，不知道这一次的恢复电力能持续多久。停电至今已经造成了至少17人死亡。反对派领袖瓜伊多批评是马杜罗现任政府的腐败和管理不力导致了这一次的大停电。在与 CNN 的一次采访中，瓜伊多还称马杜罗应该对停电过程中的受害者负责，并称他为杀人犯，是他杀害了停电的受害者。而现任总统马杜罗则把这一次的停电归咎在美国暗中破坏上，说是美国和反政府组织的颠覆阴谋。但同样的，目前还没有消息指出到底是谁的过错。而因为停电，委内瑞拉的政府在周一宣布全国学校停课，商业活动都停摆。据路透社在当地发回的消息，委内瑞拉现状十分混乱，停电最直接影响到的都是居民本身。路透消息称，在加油站，人们大排长龙延伸到街口。据加油站消息人士称，停电之下，全国1800个加油站只有大概10家在正常运营，家家户户顶着大太阳排队买水，因为平民家里一般都停电停水了。在很多的便利店里，因为没有办法制冷，商家都直接给客人送芝士、蔬菜和肉类等等。有些商店还因为停电遭到了哄抢。而受影响最深的可以说是在医院的病人。据美联社周末发回的报道，因为停电，医院中的育儿保温箱没有办法操作，很多母亲只能绝望地看着新生儿，担忧他们能不能活下来。而这周末在委内瑞拉发生的另一件值得关注的是来自于纽约时报的报道。该报道爆出，上月烧毁人道主义物资卡车的并不是马杜罗的军队，而是反对马杜罗的抗议者而为。纽约时报称，讽刺的是，最先指责马杜罗烧毁人道主义物资和传播该谣言的正是美方的官员。的确在上个月物资焚烧的消息一出，先是美国副总统彭斯发文称是马杜罗跟他的追随者放火焚烧美国派去物资的。随后美国国务院还发布了一段美国救援物资被烧毁的视频，并且写明这是马杜罗下令而为的。这一段被发布的视频随即被疯转，在不同的视频网站和电视上都有播出。随后美国的国务卿蓬佩奥和国家安全顾问博尔顿都跳出来指责了马杜罗。而纽约时报最新爆出的这篇报道贴出了未经剪辑过的原视频，说网上发布的视频其实是被刻意更改过的。说到中国最近并没有再向委内瑞拉的情况进行表态，那么相比之下，美方似乎没有缓下来的势头。周日，博尔顿接受采访表示，瓜伊多仍然在斗争中占上风，说瓜伊多领导的反对派正不断地与军方接触，并讨论可能的结果。他还表示，美国总统川普在委内瑞拉的问题上并没有放弃任何的选项，但是博尔顿拒绝做出是否会进行军事介入的这个预测，称还要再观察委内瑞拉情况再定。委内瑞拉的情况越发复杂，而这场停电引发的纷争，到底谁才是祸害的源头呢？反对派上台之后，民众的生活是不是真的会有改善呢？ 在这一期的明镜连线节目中，我们就来探讨这个问题。拉丁美洲的长期观察者和分析员，现任哥伦比亚政府 Pro Colombia 的顾问哈里与我们进行了连线。哈里他专注于分析委内瑞拉的经济危机，所以在我问及他觉得到底是什么引起了委内瑞拉现在经济危机的时候，他表示，其实委内瑞拉的经济从至少6年前就已经开始走下坡了，只是最近媒体关注的更多而已。他认为最根本的原因是委内瑞拉的经济结构过度的依赖石油出口。我还问了受访人哈里，他对《纽约时报》爆出的这篇关于人道主义物资的纷争文章怎么看。他觉得他最直观的感受就是，所有关于委内瑞拉的现行报道和文章都过分的政治化了。他说，这个国家其实至少从6年前就已经开始两极分化严重。人口的一大部分仍然支持查韦斯的价值观，反对任何国家政治的干预，而人口的另一部分则反对政府，恨不得马上逃离国家的经济危机和暴力。这双方一直都在僵局之中，不愿意接受真相，也不坐下来讨论。我最后问哈里，他觉得瓜伊多上台能不能挽救委内瑞拉于水深火热之中，他就表示并不一定。他举了墨西哥作为例子，说墨西哥花了10几年来调整经济结构。同样的，如果委内瑞拉能想清楚自己要怎么发展行业，要怎么摆脱石油的依赖，也起码要花上至少15年才能调整好经济结构，不然一直还是会民不聊生。哈里还跟我分析了委内瑞拉的外交关系中一直被忽略的一个国家，也就是印度。印度是委内瑞拉的第2大石油出口国。他跟我们简述了为什么现在委内瑞拉应该更加看重它跟印度的关系。关于委内瑞拉形势更多详尽的分析，请听接下来我跟哈里的连线对话。At first, I want you to talk to us a little bit more about your Wilson Center report about the economic relationship between India and Venezuela, which is often neglected. So could you tell us more about that, and what would be the major takeaways that you hope the audience can get?
Well, the report is actually part of a series the Wilson Center is doing on a few countries that are key economic or political partners for Venezuela. So there's another paper on Russia, and they had asked me to do the one on India. And basically, like you said, it's not an issue that people talk about too much, India's relationship with Venezuela. So the point of the report is just to shed some light on what exactly is going on between these two countries, and when exactly did it start, and what is the outlook for the future. So I tried to outline a few things that sort of bind India and Venezuela together. And it's pretty much just oil for now. And I don't think it will expand into too many other areas anytime soon. But in terms of oil, Venezuela has a lot of heavy crude. And there are some private refineries in India that can refine this heavy crude at a reasonable cost, and they are the ones who are buying Venezuelan oil. So it's actually not really a conscious effort from the Indian government to buy the oil, because Indian government companies, for example, public companies in India, do not currently buy Venezuelan oil. Because the cost is just not justified. They would have to mix the crude with lighter grades of crude to refine it. So it's the private sector, and actually just two companies. And this is something I've highlighted quite a bit in the Wilson Center report, that Reliance Industries, Reliance is the biggest conglomerate or company, private company in India. And the group works on various different industries. but Reliance Industries is also the biggest private oil company in India, and they have a refinery in the west coast of India in Gujarat, which which can very easily process the heavy Venezuelan crude. So they get a lot of this in super tankers um, from Venezuela at a good price since they buy it in bulk. And they've also signed a 15-year supply agreement with PDVSA, with the National Oil Company of Venezuela, in 2012. So it goes on till 2027. To buy between 300,000 and 400,000 barrels of oil, barrels per day of oil for these 15 years. So I think this is the biggest thing right now, given the current situation in Venezuela. The only other angle from India in terms of oil is the Indian investment. There's about $2.5 billion of pledged investment from India, and these are mainly from 3 national oil companies, not private companies. And obviously, you know that right now Venezuela is not producing much oil. It's gone down to, I'm not sure how much it would be today, but it's about 1 or even less than 1 million barrels per day of oil being produced in Venezuela. So these Indian companies that have invested are not really, they're not really producing much in the oil blocks that they have invested in. So, yeah.
Why do you think
I
it's
think that's
important?
just the outline of the case.
Right, okay. So why do you think it's important for people to notice this relationship now?
Now, I think because right now, since Venezuela has stopped exporting to the US because of the US sanctions, India is the biggest buyer. And not too many people would have realized the sheer quantity of oil that India buys from Venezuela. And it has become more apparent now just because the US has stopped buying. So it is the biggest source of foreign revenue, of foreign exchange for Venezuela right now. And that foreign exchange, as you know, is quite a precious commodity now in Venezuela. They need the foreign exchange to import a lot of other products that are essential, like medicines and any type of everyday supply.
And what do you think is the most prominent reason behind Venezuela's current economic crisis?
I think firstly, the crisis has reached a certain point today in March 2019. But for anyone who's been following Venezuela for a while, it has been, the economy has just been falling into a complete decline. I'm not sure, since maybe 6 years or 5 years or so now. So I think it's important to remember that it's not something that has happened overnight. Even if the news cycle has caught it only recently, but ever since about 2012, 2013, and the fall in, or the drop in oil prices, the economy has been hit quite badly. And to be frank, there are a lot of structural issues, apart from the fact that the administration has really not been able to handle the economy. One of the structural issues is that Venezuela as a country never really stopped being dependent on oil exports. So the oil exports, I think, should account for, I think, about 98, 99% since the past 20, 30 years. It's been over 90% at least. So it's not something new. They've been highly dependent on oil, and that itself is not a good thing. They needed to diversify many years ago, and they haven't. And the drop in oil prices and some really bad management of the economy by the current regime has, I think, led to where they are now.
Right. I'm sure you are aware of the New York Times stories over the weekend that said the humanitarian aid was not damaged by Maduro's forces, but instead was caused by an anti-government individual. So what do you think we can interpret from this story?
Yeah, I actually saw that video.
Right.
The New York Times said yesterday, I think I saw it, or maybe earlier today. But to be frank, I find it quite disappointing that even something like the humanitarian crisis has become so politicized.
Right.
I don't think it should have ever become politicized, because at the end of the day, people are starving in the country. People, are not able to buy essential goods. We've even heard about the amount of weight people in Venezuela have lost over the past few years. But I think it's unfortunate that the crisis has become so politicized. And at least in terms of humanitarian aid, it should be allowed to function without this politics. If aid is required, it should be able to reach the people that need it, whether it is through, I'm not really sure, as an observer of this crisis, I'm not really sure what is the right way to get humanitarian aid into the country and who should distribute it and all of that. I don't have the answers to that, but my guess would be that you should have some mediating or non-partisan agencies like the UN, the United Nations, the Red Cross, to do this, and it should be left to non-partisan agencies so that they can actually get it to wherever it needs to be.
And I'm sure UN has been trying to intervene in these issues, and they've just been kind of stopped by the current regime. So how do you think non-politicized agencies can ever intervene if Maduro's still in power?
Yeah, you do have a point there. So it's not going to be easy. You're going to need someone to mediate over that. And because of what you just said, I don't think it will stop becoming politicized. So now that even the humanitarian aid has become a political issue, it's hard for it to not be political anymore, unless you have someone who can mediate between the government and the opposition and international forces. Like you said, it is going to become a political issue. So I really don't have a solution there. I'm not sure what is the right way to go about it, but obviously the solution has to be that whatever is required by the people should allow to enter the country.
Another pretty worrying situation over the weekend is the power shortage, and it looks like it's the worst in memory. So you previously mentioned that this economic crisis, has been going on dating back to 6 years at least ago. So why do you think this has reached this historical peak at this moment?
From what I've read, I think the national agency or the organization that is responsible for electric power supply was like the government took control of that agency many years ago. And since then, I'm not sure how many years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But since then, they have not done adequate maintenance of these power supply lines and of the machinery. And I hope that even things like power, that's the most basic thing you can expect of a country that is as resource rich as Venezuela, that actually until a few years ago, until about a decade ago, could boast a lot more things than just having electric supply. But yeah, it's just been a very haphazard management of so many industries. I can't even get into how badly so many different industries in the country have been managed.
Right. So if the situation is so deeply rooted in the country's history, do you think even if Guaido comes to power, this can change?
No, so what I meant was that the economic crisis right now is rooted more in the performance of the government in the past few years, but also on structural issues. So in terms of the structural issues, yes, even any other opposition leader will have to deal with it. For example, even if Guaido or anyone else comes into power, let's even say this year or next year, or whenever they do come into power, it's not going to be easy to turn an economy that is so dependent on oil exports and just diversify even in one government term. It will take at least 10-15 years for them to build up some other industries, build up some manufacturing services that can also support the economy. So Mexico, for example, today, I think only about 40% of Mexico's exports, or maybe even less than 40%, are commodity based. And the rest is manufactured products. But Mexico took at least 40, 50 years of heavily industrial policies to support the local industry to reach this point. So even for Venezuela, they need to, whichever government does come in, they need to figure out what industries to build up in the short term, what industries can support the country in the medium term. Can they do manufacturing of vehicles, of household goods, whatever it is? They need to build up some industries that can support the economy when oil prices go down.
Good point. My last question would be, what would you hope people can understand more about the current situation in Venezuela?
I think the one thing that I find most unfortunate is that about 6 years ago, Venezuela was already a very polarized country, and now it is becoming even more polarized, where you still have a good section of the population that supports the Chavistas and that does not want, for example, foreign intervention, that does not want the US or any other countries to interfere militarily or with any use of force. And then you also have a big part of the country that is desperate to get out of this economic crisis, economic, social crisis. The levels of violence also are so high now. And there are many people who want to escape from that as well, And unfortunately, both sides have some validity. Both sides are speaking their version of the truth. So it is a very complicated situation. And even if the opposition, for example, does manage to come to power soon, it's not going to be an easy situation. What I can only hope for is that it does not become a protracted sort of violent transition. I hope that the Venezuelans and primarily the Venezuelans themselves can find some sort of peaceful way to transition from this regime, if at all they do. That would just be, I think, the ideal situation that we should all be going for. Any sort of military intervention will not only affect Venezuela but neighboring countries as well in the region. And it would be a real disaster if that ends up happening.
All right. Thank you so much, Hari. 以上就是今天的明镜连线，感谢您收看明镜电视，我们下期再见。